Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be discussing different type of equipment loads, how to properly run them, when they're good, when they're bad, to make sure you're not running the wrong equipment load with the wrong setup and you're screwing yourself over. All right, let's get straight into the first equipment load, light. Light gives you 15% base damage, outgoing healing is 30%, blocks ability is -10, your dodge roll is a quick roll, dodge stamina cost is 50, and for 1 second after taking a melee hit, so not range, dodge distance is reduced by 20% and you cannot run, quick damage taken -15%. So what does this all mean? This means if you want the highest damage, the highest mobility, and the highest healing, light roll or the light setup is for you. Now, what are the major drawbacks? You're not very tanky in light, and you're extremely squishy, you can get one shot really easily. Now, how do you run light up? Light. Well, it's not actually by running all light armor. You have to have a medium head, light chest, medium light gloves, medium legs, and light footwear. This allows us to stay just under the light equipment load, which is 13. The other way you can run light is light head, medium chest here, light gloves, light leg wear, and light boots. That's the other way you can run light. What classes primarily run light? Well, it's going to be healers or range users like a bow user or a fire staff or a musket. And why do they run light? So they can get the nice long roll here and allow you to kite away from the pesky melee users that are going to be running you down. Melee users can also run light. You're basically a glass cannon, one-shot people. If you're running light, sometimes in melee, you're super high damage, but you're extremely squishy. It's the high risk, high reward playstyle. Onto medium, your dodge is now a quick hop. Onto medium, your dodge is now a quick hop. As you can see here, I now have a quick hop. Still has some nice mobility, but not as much as the light roll. Your stamina costs for your rolls are still 50, which is good. Incoming crowd control duration is -10. For 0.75 seconds after taking a melee hit, dodge distance is reduced by 20% and you cannot run. Critical damage taken is -20%, so just making you more overall tanky. So what is the point of medium, you may be asking? Well, medium can be ran in PvE as a DPS. It's generally mainly ran as a bruiser. Let me talk about the PvE side first. So when you PvE, you either roll as a DPS, you'll either run in light or medium. Generally more so light. Now the reason you could run medium armor in PvE DPS is when you would run basically 0 con. That's the other way some people like to run it. I'm a personal fan of running light with like 100 con, but you can run medium with like 10-15 con and do dungeons like that. Medium is also can be run on some range builds such as Fire Staff Blunderbuss or Fire Staff Ice Gauntlet, like where you run the flamethrower on your fire staff. So this ability right here is pretty good in medium because you have to be more upfront to deal damage. So medium gives you the extra tankiness that you will need to do so. For healers generally want to avoid medium. The only healers that will ever run medium will be the paladin playstyle generally, because you don't get that increased healing of light, but you can't run light as a paladin build because you're just simply not tanky enough. So medium is generally a good option for that. Plus medium still allows you to have nice mobility while you're hopping around like a little bunny rabbit. But the main focus of medium is bruiser builds. So like sword and shield, great sword or hatchet and spear, or great sword and hammer. Those are all good bruiser builds that like to run medium. Medium allows you to be able to still catch the light players if you land your movement skills, because you don't lose that much distance while running, but it's still generally hard to catch a light player if they're on something like a rapier with a bow. The way you want to set up armor for medium, because there's a better way, he's not running all medium for medium, is you want to have a medium head, a heavy chest, a medium glove, a light leg, and a medium shoes. The other way you can run medium is we can slot in a heavy chest, keep our medium helmet here. Next we need heavy gloves. As you can see now we're in heavy. So what do we have to do? We have to remove our legs here. So we'll put light legs on here. And then for our final one, we want medium boots. This allows us to stay just under the medium equipment load as 23. The other way you can run medium is one more way, and that is medium feet here, light legs. Now you will change your hands to medium, and then you can have a heavy chest with a heavy helmet. Those are the 3 different ways you can run medium. That gives you the most overall armor. All 3 of those ways are fine. And the reason why you would run each of the variants is generally the artifact that you will be using will generally dictate the way you run medium. Heavy. Oh, heavy. Heavy is very straightforward. You just run all heavy. It doesn't matter anymore. You're just heavy. You can't be encumbered unless you have too much in your inventory. So for heavy, you run all heavy here. And put a tower shield here too, just why not? You're in heavy, it doesn't matter. But what does heavy gain? -15% damage. Outgoing healing is -30. Block stability is +10. Immune to crowd control duration, -20%. Your dodge is a directional step. Now this is actually a really big deal. as I'm going to showcase here. So you still have that hop, right? As you can see on the sand, I can hop just between there just fine. But the second I go into heavy, it's now a slow little roll. I cover slightly less distance, but it's just so much longer. And that's the major drawback of heavy is the roll, because you can't really ever catch a light dex player, let's say rapier bow player in light as heavy, because the roll is just so bad compared to the light roll for distance. And it also costs 55 stamina. Now that may not sound like a big deal, but it actually is. As you can see here, I only can dodge twice and then my stamina bar is gone. But when I switch to medium, I can now dodge 3 times in a row and cover way more distance way fast. And that's another huge drawback of heavy, is your just movement is so limited. For 0.5 seconds after taking a melee hit, you cannot run, and PvP critical damage taken is negative 25%. So maybe asking, what is the main advantage of heavy? Heavy for PvE is just the tank build, right? You run all heavy if you're tanking the dungeon. But what about PvP? Why do you run heavy in PvP? It's because it has the most stat density out of all the other armor classes. So what does that mean? So that means if I'm a heavy and I'm fighting a medium player, right? And we both just sat here light attacking like this, I would win every time. There is no way that medium player could ever beat me if we sat here light attacking with the same stats. The only difference was our armor types. I would win every time, just simply because of how much more stat dense heavy is than medium and light. And the same goes for medium. A light player can never beat a medium player. If they just sit here like this and light attacking like this until one of them dies, the medium player will always kill the light player. So that is the major advantage of running heavy. You're just so much more stat dense than the medium and the light player. Is there a place for heavy in PvP? Of course there is. Generally, the way you would run heavy in PvP is with movement skills like I am right here. So we have Leaping Strike from Sword and Shield and the Relentless Rush from Great Sword. This allows us to close the gap and help negate our heavy shortcomings because of how bad our roll is. When do you generally roll in heavy? Usually it's to dodge big damaging abilities, because most of the time it's just generally better to block, or it's to animation cancel. So after I use Relentless Rush there, I dodge immediately after to stop like the animation. So what setups are good for heavy? Well, you can run pretty much any melee build can run heavy as long as you have some mobility. So for example, like Sword and Shield, Great Sword is good. Into here, Hammer is good if for wars, but generally not for open world. Generally Hammer likes medium because Hammer has no movement skills. Great Axe is fine, it has the movement skills. Slow, Great Axe is really good because it has a lot of movement. Another melee weapon that is really good is Hatchet. Hatchet can run heavy just fine because it has movement once again, so it doesn't get hindered as much as, let's say, Spear or Hammer, because Spear and Hammer is 0 movement, so they suffer more because of the heavy effect. And if you are a heavy player, I generally recommend not trying to chase down the light players. You generally won't be able to catch them, especially if they're decent at the game. They have too much mobility, and if they're running rapier, just don't try it. Now, if you are wondering, how do I run a shield? Let's say I wanted to run Sword and Shield. Well, for heavy, it's always Tower Shield. For light and medium, it's always round shield. Kite shields are useless. Never touch a kite shield. Avoid that like the plague. It is the worst shield in the game. It's just not good, bad, avoid it. As you can see, I'm in light still, even though I have the round shield, and that's because I'm running all light. Still, that's why I still have my quick roll. This is full assassin build. Like, you want to do big dick damage, this is the setup for you. Now, how do you run it in medium? It's a little bit more complicated. There's 3 different ways to run it. Again, I'll go over each of them. Heavy feet, light legs, heavy gauntlets, medium chest, medium head. The other way you can run it is heavy head, medium chest, medium hands, light legs, heavy feet. And then the third and final way is medium feet, light legs, heavy gauntlets, medium chest, and heavy head. If you guys did enjoy this content, it means a lot to me. Hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be streaming, so come and check that out. I'll be happy to answer any questions in the comments below or at my stream, so feel free to check that out, and I hope you guys all have a great day.